How you doing? How you feeling? Yes, your girl is back. I'm back. I'm back. So I'm gonna be reacting to, did people used to look older? So I don't know what this video is all about. I'm assuming it means like back in the days people did look older, and I think I know why. It's because fashion is how the way they dress. I think like their hairstyles, and some people just had some rough life, and some people just had to be more mature back in those days. You know, it's all about going to school and work, So yeah, I'm just assuming. I don't know, but let's just get straight to the video.
Hey, VSauce, Michael here. At the age of 18, Carl Sagan looked like a teenager. But it doesn't take long in an old high school yearbook to find teenagers who look surprisingly old. These people are all in their 20s, but so are these people. This is Elizabeth Taylor when she was just 17.
Well, this is what I'm saying, is how the way they dress, their hairstyle makes them look older. Cause look at her. He said she was 17. She has on full makeup on, even though she's still beautiful. She was a beautiful woman. Is the makeup. She has makeup, lipstick, like look at her. And her dress.
And here are some high school students from the 70s. Did people used to look older?
Makeup.
Brandon McCarthy asked on Twitter, and evidence poured in. People shared photos of their parents in their early 20s, their dad at 21.
No way. He was 21, but this is what I'm saying. I think it's the clothes.
Their mom at 18 or 19.
No.
Their dad at 45. One user shared their husband at 27 and what his father looked like at 23. What? And there's pretty much an entire subculture around how old footballers looked decades ago. 24, 31, 33, 29, 27.
See, I was talking about their makeup and their hair, but these men was losing their hair in such a young age. And they do look older. So it could be it's something else back in those days. It could be just, they probably just had a rough life.
It's not uncommon to think that there's something more grown up about the way people used to be. To look back and think that people seemed older at a younger age than they do now. Let's call it retrospective aging. It doesn't happen to everyone. People do not and never have aged similarly, and there's even the opposite observation that kids these days grow up too fast. But it's a popular question and subject of numerous memes. So, is it real? Or is it an illusion fueled by cherry-picked examples that feeds rosy nostalgia for a time when people were tough and didn't have it as easy as you kids have it now? Well, as it turns out, both.
Oh, okay.
Humans today really are aging more slowly than their historic counterparts. Changes in lifestyle, nutrition, smoking habits, healthcare, early life conditions, and skincare, particularly the use of sunscreen, are a huge part of it. By comparing measures of metabolic, cardiovascular, inflammatory, kidney, liver, and lung function across.
I was gonna say that too. Especially back in the days, there were a lot of heavy smokers back in those days too. So smoking definitely could make you age quicker. So that definitely do play a role.
Time, researchers at Yale and USC have found that we are in fact staying younger for longer than we used to. So does that mean that 60 is the new 50? Almost. Their results suggest that between the early 90s and the late 2000s, 60 became the new 56. 40 became the new 37 and a half, and 20 became the new 19. Oh, also, during the last century, dentistry and orthodontics have played a huge cosmetic role in the kinds of faces we see in parts of the world. But, interestingly, When faces in magazines are measured from the 1930s to today, the only significant change has been that across all ethnicities, the media is now exposing us to larger lips. Also, retroactive aging can occur over short time spans. When I was a freshman, the seniors in my high school seemed so old to me. But by the time I was a senior myself, I looked in the mirror and at my peers and I was like, we're them now, but we don't seem as old as they did. What's going on isn't just about bodies. First of all, the seniors I looked at when I was a freshman truly were older than me at that time. They graduated and went away, and later, when I was a senior, I saw myself as I was. But in my mind's eye, I saw the earlier seniors as they appeared to me when I was younger. Retrospective aging seems to also be about perspective. Let's go back to this tweet. This is George Wendt playing Norm on the TV show Cheers.
Was he really 34?
When Cheers premiered, Wendt was indeed 34, but I looked it up, and this image is actually from episode 24 of season 5 when Wendt was 38. So we're not comparing apples to apples here.
Oh,
However,
okay.
This is an image of George Wendt at 34, and Ashley Fairbanks made some alterations and a good point.
So, wait, he was 34? But like I said, it could be the hairstyle and the clothes make him look older. Maybe if he was wearing like a cool shirt and had a different type of hairstyle, he could look younger. Cause it's not really the face. I'm not. He still have a cute young face though.
However, here's the rub. These alterations don't make Wendt look more like a 34-year-old. They make him look more like a 34-year-old today. Similarly, giving the Golden Girls modern-day hairstyles and makeup drops their apparent age a lot. Superficial styles and mannerisms can often make not just a big difference, but all the difference, which supports the hypothesis that retrospective aging is.
This is why I said I mentioned about hairstyle. Back in the day, they wear a lot of makeup back in the days. I mean, girls wear makeup too now, but it depends on how they did their makeup back in the days too. There's a lot of stuff play a role in what make a person look older than their age.
Is often an illusion. Modes of self-expression are always changing. Clothing, hairstyles, accessories, makeup, mannerisms, language, body language. Now, modes can come back, but never exactly. The context is always a little bit different. And from what's available or acceptable at any one time, we each draw ways of appearing or being in the world. And even if you don't care about how you look or think about how you act, what options you even have are dictated by what's currently popular or normal or being pushed on people like you. Few of us stay at the stream, drawing what's new all our lives. For various reasons, we often wander away with our catch. Perhaps it's because we settle into an identity we're comfortable with, or fear the taboo of not dressing our age, or simply run out of time to care. But when we're gone, the stream keeps changing, and we get older and continue to use the mannerisms and styles we grabbed a while back. Eventually, to whatever those styles initially evoked, a new connotation is added. Old person. Not because the look or behavior is intrinsically for the elderly, but because those who use it, us, became old ourselves. If you want to look older, what do? Well, you can dress the way older people
dress. Yep.
And the thing is, that's often how they used to dress too. We think people looked older in the past because they look the way old people do today.
Yeah.
Dale Irby, a gym teacher at Prestonwood Elementary School in Dallas, Texas, posed for his first yearbook photo in 1973. The following year, he accidentally wore the same outfit again. He says he was embarrassed at first, but his wife Kathy challenged him to do it again. So he did. And he never stopped. What he gave us is a great, exaggerated example of how what once connoted youth comes to be associated with old age. The people we keep seeing a style on get older and older themselves until we think of the style itself as being for old people. Retrospective aging,
That's
then,
crazy.
is double-pronged, both real and illusory. People in the past really did age faster than us because of differences in nutrition and lifestyle and medicine.
Yeah.
But much, if not most, can be chalked up to the fact that we think people like this are dressed like old people. But that's an anachronism. They're dressed like old people from the future. The old people they would become.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone ever dressed like a young person from the future?
Yeah.
Well, it happened in 1941 at the reopening of the South Fork Bridge in Canada. A crowd came out to celebrate and photos were taken. In 2010, the photos were digitized and placed online. That's when this guy was noticed, a time-traveling hipster. Why a time traveler wouldn't bother to blend in, and why with all...
I want to use this singer. Y'all probably know who I'm about to mention. Her name was Aaliyah. She was an R&B singer in the what year? I'll say in the early I'll say more like in the early 90s. I'll say early 90s. Yeah. You should have seen how the way she dressed. She dressed like, she didn't dress like how the way people dressed back in the days. Like, she dressed like she was from the future. And there are people who dress totally different than everybody else. And until like maybe 20, 50 years from now, you look back, you like, God damn, like you was already dressed that way already. So I kind of understand what he's saying about, you know, people dress a little different and dressing more future realistic. That's the word. So yeah.
all of history to visit, he chose the reopening of a bridge in the 40s? No one knew. The photo was confirmed to be undoctored, and researchers put forward the idea that this man
So who's he?
was not, in fact, a time traveler. That his shirt wasn't an ironic screen print, but simply bore the logo of the Montreal Maroons, a nearby hockey team at the time. They said his sunglasses and knit sweater were not unusual for the 40s, nor was his portable camera. The only thing that was unusual about him was how casual his attire was. And they're probably right. But this all raises the exciting possibility that someone out there right now, possibly even you, is unknowingly dressed like people in the future will. And your appearance in photos will someday freak them out. You know, it might be fun to start dressing even more casually or in some other odd way on the off chance that you happen to nail it and years from now you are worshipped as a time traveler. Wow. Whoa! Who's that guy? Does he look like a Bill, a Mark, a Justin, or a Josh?
Josh?
Pause right now if you'd like to think about it.
Josh? I don't know.
According to research from Millsaps College and Miami University, this is Mark. Or at least, this is what we think people named Mark look like. By asking people to make and rate digitally created faces, researchers were able to put together prototypical faces for a number of different names. This is apparently what we think a Josh looks like. A Bill, a Justin, a Dan, a Brian, a Tom, and Andy. The idea that names might conjure certain face shapes in our minds isn't that strange. For example, there's Wolfgang Kohler's famous finding that when asked which of these shapes is named Booba and which is named Kiki, people of all different ages and cultures and languages overwhelmingly assign Kiki to the spiky one and Booba to the blobby one. And sure enough, it certainly seems to work with names too. Which one of these men is Tim and which is Bob?
Whoa, which one's Tim and which one's Bob? This is funny. I'll say the one named is Tim is the one with the long hair, and Bob is the one with no hair.
Well, almost unanimously, people feel like this is Tim and this is Bob.
Bob, yeah.
But are these men actually named Tim and Bob?
No.
Well, there's the rub. Just because we associate certain names, certain sounds with certain shapes doesn't mean we're right.
That's true.
There's no such thing as a biological name. If a person still goes by the same name they were given as a baby, long before anyone knew what they would look like as an adult.
That's true.
Surely there won't be a connection.
Right.
But as it turns out,
What?
there is.
What?
Believe it or not, in a multiple choice setting, people can guess a stranger's name just by looking at their face. More often than we would expect from luck alone. It's called the face name matching effect. Here's a stimulus from Zwebner's research. Do you think this man is named Jacob, Dan, Joseph, or Nathaniel?
Jacob, Dan, Joseph, or Nathaniel? I would say Joseph. He pronounced that Joseph, even though it's spelled different. Because I know somebody named Joseph, but it's spelled different. I'll say either Dan or Joseph.
By just randomly picking a name, people should get this right 25% of the time. But Zwebner found that people picked the correct answer, Dan, nearly 40% of the time. What's going on?
I don't know.
Can names actually cause us to grow to look a certain way? Well, apparently they can. It has been called a Dorian Gray effect. In Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, a portrait of the protagonist ages and grotesquely reflects his evil deeds while he himself remains young and pure-looking. In a similar way, it seems that in some cases, our own appearance can come to reflect the name we were given. But I kind of think it's really more of a reverse Dorian Gray effect. I mean, in the book, Dorian's reality affects the appearance of his portrait, but the face name matching effect goes the other way. An inanimate sign, a name, influences our actual physical appearance. Well, anyway, it's not news that a person's name can lead others to have certain expectations of them and treat them accordingly. It's been found, for example, that multiracial faces given European names are rated as looking more European than the same faces are when presented with non-European names. The expectations a name carries with it may create a self-fulfilling prophecy, whereby as a person grows up, they're motivated to fulfill those expectations, carry themselves in ways people think someone with their name should, and even like, dislike, accentuate, hide, use, and avoid different parts of their face and body depending on whether or not those parts match their name. It's been found that faces and names that match are emotionally liked more than faces and names that don't. Analysis of voting data has shown that senatorial candidates earn 10% more votes when their names fit their faces very well than when they fit very poorly. Now, with that in mind, part of the effect could literally come from the fact that although parents don't know what their kid will look like as an adult, the parents do know what they look like, and without knowing it, tend to prefer names that match their faces, which are likely to resemble their child's face as well. But not always. If the dissonance is too great, a person can always change their name, either completely or by simply choosing a nickname.
That's true.
If I had been just a little bit different, Michael, could have always gone by Mike. The fact that people can adjust their names to fit them, of course, merely strengthens the face name matching effect. By studying whether the correct name could be guessed when different parts of a face were occluded, researchers were able to develop heat maps showing which parts of the face different names are most characteristically associated with. Apparently, looking like an Anne is all about the tip of the nose. It's the bridge of the nose for Arthur's and the philtrum or snot trough for Benjamin's. Aurélies are recognized by their face spiders. Let's go back to old people. How old is an old person? 73.7. That's according to results published in the Journal of American Geriatrics last year. It's the average age people gave when asked, when does old age begin? People under 65 on average said 71, and people over 65 on average said 77. Women said old age began 3 years later than men did. White people said it began 8 years later than non-whites did, and people who felt healthy placed old age later in life than those who felt less healthy. But how old do people want to be? Well, that depends on how old they already are.
Yeah.
In America, the only people who are the age they would like to be are 21-year-olds. People younger than 21 wish they were older, and people older than 21 wish they were younger. People who are 40 wish they were 30. People who are 60 wish they were 40.
Yeah.
And people who are 90 wish they were 60.
Yep.
When people are asked if they could be one age forever, the average American picks 36.
Oh.
Which is actually how old I am right now, funny enough. Thanks for watching.
This was fun. I didn't expect it to be so long. Oh my god. Why did I thought it was a 10-minute video? This is like almost a half an hour video. But it was fun though. This was very fun. Like I said, it's how the way they dressed back in the days. Is what they was eating. They was doing a lot of smoking back then. It was a little bit more different back then, of course, you know, as far as the environment, how they was raised, all that play a role. So that's why people back in the days look so older. Like, I still can't believe that some of the pictures were like 16-year-olds that look like they was in their 30s. It was like, wait a minute. Especially the men. They didn't have no hair. They was like 21, they have no hair. I'm like, whoa. They probably was going through stress. Who knows? But anyway, comment below. Let me know how you feel about this video. Check these videos out that I have. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. So go there and subscribe. And I will see you lovely people. Take care.